Um, it's hot. First of all, I want to thank Wes, thank John, Milt, Griff. I appreciate you guys making this happen. Obviously, I've spent my entire career in Portland, 11 years, long time. So I'm extremely thankful for that organization, that city, the fans, for giving me the kind of experience that I had. And I don't think it's a secret how much I want to win, and that's how we got here today. And I think they want to win equally as bad as I do. And I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more thankful for this opportunity to be a part of this organization, to play alongside the best player in the league. It's going to be fun. And the hospitality that they showed, my family, we touched down to a parade, my first time getting traded. So you don't know what to expect, so to walk in to something like that was special. It was a great welcoming, and, it's something that I really appreciated. And it only made me more excited to be here and more excited to get to work. So, I'm thankful.
Yeah, about 5,000 attended. You got a good taste of hospitality here in Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin. Let's go with Eric with the first question.
Hey, Damian. Eric Name, The Athletic. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Milwaukee. I'm curious, just how have you processed the last 5 days? Like, just the idea of, you mentioned getting traded for the first time, now being in this situation. Just, can you take us through the emotions of all of that?
Yeah, it was definitely a different experience. I was just kind of sitting there in my man cave. I didn't really know what was going to happen. I started to think like, man, it might get to training camp and I might just be sitting and waiting, And then I got that call from my agent. It was like, man, you getting traded to Milwaukee. And I had heard so many different things that I was like, am I really getting traded? And he was like, yeah, they traded you. And I could tell in the seriousness in his voice that it was real. And he was like, I'll let you sit with it for a while. I'll call you back. I'm going to settle some things, and then we'll talk about it. And after we got off the phone, I sat there, and I was like, I'm really moving on. And it became reality for me, and I kind of just started to think, like, my entire family is here. How am I going to pack everything up? I started to panic a little bit, like it's, first time. And then I wanted to, let my family know. So I started walking around the house and like nobody was there. Everybody was out doing something. I'm calling people, nobody picking up the phone. I was like, man, any other time I'll be able to reach whoever I need to. So I had to sit with it by myself for a while. So when that happened, I just kind of went back to the man cave and I sat there. And then that was when the calls started coming in, my friends, family members, like, is it real? Is it true? And then I started to think about the team, So it was like, who did I get traded for? Who's going to be there? And then I looked it up and, I saw what kind of team I was coming to be a part of. And then that was when the excitement kicked in, just recognizing the opportunity that it is and just knowing how much I want to win and going into every season being optimistic and thinking that we got a chance to get it done, and then coming into this situation and knowing that you got an opportunity to do it, the excitement definitely kicked in when I sat with it for a little bit.
Jim?
Jim Lazarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dave. When and why did Milwaukee, I guess, pop up for you as a potential place to go? Like, when did you maybe think about that, and why did that become a place that you were like, okay, I'd be comfortable going there?
It was, I would say, maybe 2 weeks ago. It was just all this talk and, all of these things. And there was a lot of things said that didn't come from me. I hadn't spoke on the situation a whole lot. But as we got into it, my agent called me, and he was just like, what about Milwaukee? And obviously, Giannis, is public record that I've always mentioned. If I had to team up with one person, it would be him. So when we talked about it, I was like, I would definitely be interested in that, obviously. And he was just like, okay, and I could tell he kind of put it in his back pocket. And obviously, in these situations, you never control completely, how things end up or where you end up going. So, it came about, and it was an option, and it was like, press play. Why not? Why pass up on that type of opportunity? So it was something that came up, I would say, 2 weeks ago, and I was interested in that for sure. And now that we're here, I'm excited for this opportunity.
Vince?
Damian, you brought it up earlier, playing with Giannis. Vince Gill or Yahoo Sports, sorry about that. You're in a situation where you said publicly, you said to Chris, I'm going to a situation where I'm not the best player.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can have the ball in your hands the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. Is that something that appealed to you, that sort of situation where you don't have to carry, but you can still be yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always be myself, and being myself doesn't always mean that, I got to be out front or everything has to be about me. I think because of who I am as a person, the way that I prepare myself, the way that I approach the game, I'm going to find a way to have an impact. And like I said, playing with somebody like Giannis, the kind of attention that he's going to get is only going to make the game easier and more simple for me. And I think because of the way that I impose myself when I do play and how I attack games, he's going to have the kind of opportunity that I think he hasn't had as well. So, I mean, the best thing I could tell you is how exciting it's going to be, how excited I am, and that I'm prepared for it. I don't go into any situation expecting to, for things to be about me. So I know the player that he is. I know the player that I am. And I know how to make my presence felt regardless of the role, It's not the same as this level, but when I was in college, I walked into a situation where it was, upperclassmen, seniors that were had been here a couple of years. They had been established. They were known around our conference, and I stepped in, and I didn't step on nobody's toes, but I announced my presence, and I announced myself and did what I had to do. It was the same when I got to Portland, LA was an all-star. Wes was a vocal presence. Batum was the same. And I stepped in and announced my presence. And that was while understanding that I'm playing with LaMarcus Aldridge, but he also needs me to be who I am, for us to be our full selves and our best selves as a team. So I think this is similar to that, except I'm older. My understanding of it is even better. And I think I'm the best version of myself as a player as well. So I think we'll complement each other really well. And, I think he's the kind of guy that he's not going into it worried about being the man or anything like that either. So I think it'll work out perfectly.
As we continue, just a reminder, name and affiliation before you ask your question. Jack, go ahead.
How's it going, Damian? Jack Maloney, CBS Sports. A little bit specifically on that partnership with Giannis, you're one of the best pick and roll guys in the league. Yeah. It's pretty easy to envision that sort of partnership. Have you thought about that possibility and just what sort of impact you two can have specifically on the pick and roll?
Yeah, I think it's obviously I'm a pick and roll player. I've played a lot of pick and roll in my career. And when I think about playing with him, I was just trying to figure out how do you defend it, I haven't played against a lot of coverages where teams aren't at the level of the screen, whether it's showing, trapping, or just being there to where I got to get a ball up. And I can't imagine them wanting him to have the ball, at the free throw line coming downhill with an advantage. And Chris on the wing and Brooke, you got really good players out there. So I've definitely thought about it, and I just don't know how you handle that. And I think it's going to be something that teams have to put up with and try to figure out. But I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for me out there because of who he is and vice versa.
Chris.
Chris Haynes, TNT, NBA TV, Bleacher. Dame, now that this move is made, what they laughing at, man?
I have no idea, man.
Dame, now that this move has been made, this summer was the first time you were working out and not knowing where you were going to be, who you working out for. How were you able to prepare and because years prior, you're working out with a purpose because you know the system. How were you able to prepare yourself for the unknown?
I just try not to think about it too much. I didn't put pressure on myself about, what system am I going to play in? Where am I going to be? Like I said before, I know if I show up prepared and I show up as myself, I'm going to figure it out. I had that type of confidence in myself in whatever situation, but I think it was just a summer for me where I made my strengths stronger. You know, I kept them as my strengths, and then the things that I feel like I need to tighten up and sharpen up, I took the time to do those things. But I think at this stage of my career, I am who I'm going to be. You know, it's just a matter of how well I can take care of myself. You know, how sharp I can be, and you know, just whatever that situation was, just being able to get my feet on the ground and then start, you know, locking into it and understand what our purpose is, what's expected of me, what kind of basketball we gonna play, what kind of personnel are we gonna have, and I think coming into this situation is very very easy. You know, you look at somebody like Giannis, you look at Chris, you look at Brooke, you know, when I looked at the roster, it was very easy for me to make sense of, you know, what my job is gonna be.
Move over to this side, Gabe.
Gabe Stoltz, brewhoop.com. Welcome to Milwaukee, Dame.
Appreciate it.
Just curious, you've been here a few days. What have your initial impressions been about the team chemistry and the culture and whatnot, and how do you see that evolving?
I mean, as far as team chemistry, mic check. I'm a rapper too, so yeah, check them. When I got here, I could tell right away that it was a family environment. I could tell that it was a family environment right away, and just a humble environment. You know, everybody was just chill. It was real calm, and I think when it comes to chemistry, you don't really know until you get out there on the floor, and you know, stuff starts happening. You know, somebody gets missed while they open, somebody's not playing. You know, things got to happen for you to understand, like, where does this team really stand? You know, how the chemistry really is, and just looking at the personalities that I've seen so far, it seems like that won't be an issue. You know, I think it'll be pretty good chemistry. But as far as the city, like being embraced like that, you know, it definitely makes you comfortable a lot faster when you see that you're wanted and people are excited about you being here. And like I said, man, a lot of it was unexpected. I didn't know what to expect. You know, it's been a great couple of days. You know, my family's been really comfortable. You know, I've gotten some work in. You know, I've been around a little bit, so I'm excited, man. Every time I've been to Milwaukee over the course of my career, I just stay in the hotel the whole time because it's like snowing or something like that. So seeing the sun out and, you know, being by the water and stuff like that, it almost, you know, made me smile a little bit like, man, this could be all right. You know what I'm saying? Every time I came here, it was snowing. You know, it was like depressing a little bit. So, you know, I'm excited to be here, man. You know, like I said, seeing the opportunity basketball-wise and, you know, seeing the type of environment that they've created, the type of success that they've had, and knowing that I could bring something that could get us over the hump and have an opportunity to win, I'm definitely excited to be here, and it's been a great experience so far.
Dame, Jamal Collier from ESPN. Welcome again to Milwaukee. Kind of just coming off that, like you talked about wanting, obviously, to win and winning in your career, and you're coming to a situation where, you know, you and Giannis together, championship and stuff is the expectation. Just kind of curious how you sort of approach, how you looking at that? How you coming into this season? Are you excited about the opportunity to kind of show, you obviously been in the playoffs and seen on that level, but in that way, and especially also kind of considering the other teams in the East, Boston just made a trade. How do you feel about just the competition level there?
I mean, I think in this league, the competition level is always extremely high. Obviously, you have the media. They look at, you know, this guy went to this team, this guy went to that team, and those things jump off the page. But you just never know what can happen with injuries, and, you know, guys break out. Some teams are better than you expect. Like Denver won the championship last year. You know, nobody jumped out and said that last season. It was all the, you know, the teams that looked better on paper. So for me, I think I'm approaching this season like just doing the work. You know, obviously in my career, my life, I've never been a part of any situation that was not an underdog. You know, from my AAU program, I played for my neighborhood AAU program. I went to Weber State. I get drafted to Portland. Like, you know, I've done a lot more overachieving in my career than, like, living up to it, you know, what was expected. So I'm excited about that. I think, once again, at my age and at this stage in my career, you know, I think it came at the perfect time because I'm prepared for, you know, a situation like this. And Giannis and I spoke, and it was, I think the focal point of that conversation was just that, yes, it looks good, and it's an attractive thing, me and him playing together, the kind of team that we have, but the work has to get done. And, I think that's one thing that we're extremely like-minded about, that I've learned in the last couple of days is like when it comes to, having some success, I'm a person that wants to get in the mud and make sure that I'm doing the things that's going to, earn us that right, to have that type of success, and he is too. So it made me feel good to know that he thinks that way, because I almost get a little bit nervous about people around the situation having expectations and, how the people that's involved in it are going to carry it. So we got on the same page about that right away. So I think that's the approach.
Dame, Dario Melendez, WISN. Welcome to Milwaukee. You kind of mentioned a little bit entering your past training camps, player personnel question, system question. You're coming in now. You're playing with a bona fide superstar for the first time really in your career. No offense to CJ LaMarcus, but that's got to be refreshing, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know people always say I'm excited, but I'm really excited, Like, my whole career has been off the dribble threes, pick and roll, pull up threes, contested, double team, trapped. And I'm just curious to see how that can be possible with a player as dominant as he is. I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity to play with him. I'm excited for the opportunity to be freed up and to be able to, have more space and opportunity to play. So it's going to be fun, man. It's as far as the system, I know my coach of my first 9 years of my career is on this staff as well, Terry Stotts. And we joked a little bit, when I ran into him about some of the sets that, is going to be put in. So I was like, cool, I think it's going to be a good time. But to answer your question, playing next to Giannis is going to be a great opportunity, that I've never had before. And once again, where I'm at right now, I think it came at the perfect time.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. You know Drew Holiday's reputation as a defender.
Yeah.
What has your approach been to that side of the ball? And now that you're going to be in his spot, do you see that necessarily changing for you at all?
I think when you come into the NBA, especially as a young player that plays a lot, I think the place where you struggle the most is on the defensive end of the floor. And I don't think it's always a lack of desire. I think it's just not knowing terminology. Sometimes you just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You don't know what to expect. You don't know tendencies. You don't know personnel. And I think if you really take a look into my progression defensively, you'll see that I've gotten better year after year after year after year, even if you look into it the last couple of seasons. And I think the main reason for that is understanding what's going on. I know players around the league. I understand calls. When I hear a call gets called out, we all run the same types of actions. We all use the same terminology, so I'm able to be ahead of it and understand what's happening. Also playing on a defensive-minded team this year, I think it'll make it more simple. Like Coach Griff was saying, I understand where to be on the floor. I understand how to rotate. I understand how to play team defense, but I'm a competitor. And at the very least, on that end of the floor, I'm going to compete. I'm not going to come in here and beat Drew Holiday. I think, in my personal opinion, I think he's the best defender on the perimeter. But it's going to be, it's not going to be what people just throw out there loosely. I think in the past it's been something where people just say, oh, Dame, on defense, he's this on offense. But, the people that I play against to tell you, like, I ain't a pushover. You know what I'm saying? And I've also had a lot of responsibility on the offensive end for my entire career. And I think playing with the kind of players I'll be playing with here, it'll also give me an opportunity to, show myself much better on the defensive end of the floor.
Scott Grodzki, CBS Milwaukee. Obviously, we've talked a lot about you and Giannis, some of the other key guys in this team. Yeah. How do you see yourself fitting in with guys like Chris, Brooke? Obviously, you've played with Pat before as well.
I think I'm familiar with the way they play. I think that's the best way to tell you is offensively, I'm going to make the right play. Once we get on the floor, I think I pick up things pretty quickly. You know, I see what guys like to do. I see how I can fit myself in, you know, with the guys around me. I've always done that. And I don't think this would be any different, you know, but it's nothing that I can tell you specifically, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I just know how to react to what's going on around me. And once we get on the floor, you know, I'll find my spots and I'll find my spaces to where I got to, you know, be myself, but how I can be, you know, a compliment to those guys as well.
Hi, Dame. Dylan Hunter Carter, WTMJ Radio. Welcome to Milwaukee.
Appreciate it.
You've become known throughout the league for, you know, finding a small market team and making that a home for 10 years, and that's something I know you are very proud of as well. So
Absolutely.
What is the experience like for you to now enter a different small market and kind of go through that process again? Where do you even start?
I think it's it just feels familiar. You know, it doesn't feel like a crazy environment. You know, it's like I left one small market to another one, and one thing I can say is the people that I went to work with every day in Portland are what made that environment one that I felt comfortable making home, you know, for as long as I did. And I think the fact that this feels similar, you know, you come in here, everybody's like family, everybody's cool, everybody's around each other, they hang out here. You know, that's the type of environment that I've known my entire career. So I think it'll only make it an easier and, you know, more comfortable transition. Thank you.
We will see some snow, just so you know.
Oh, I know.
It will be coming, but there's lots of fun things you can do. Right? Thank you. Welcome to Milwaukee. Thank you. Go out this way.